German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has strongly criticized US Vice President JD Vance's remarks advocating cooperation with the far-right party Alternative for Germany. Scholz condemned any engagement with far-right groups as unacceptable and urged Vance to refrain from interfering in Germany's democratic processes.
The AfD is a party from whose ranks National Socialism and its monstrous crimes against humanity, such as those that occurred in Dachau, are trivialized as a bird's poop of German history. Therefore, a commitment to never again cannot be reconciled with support for the AfD. That's why we will not accept it if outsiders intervene in our democracy, in our elections, and in the democratic formation of opinion in favor of this party. Olaf Scholz, Chancellor of Germany.
On February 14th, during the Munich Security Conference, JD Vance openly criticized European democracy. According to him, the biggest threat to Europe is not Russia or China, but rather an internal threat. Regarding Germany, Vance argued that democracy should not have firewalls, referring to the German political consensus of refusing to cooperate with the far right.
Relief are invalid or unworthy of even being considered. Democracy rests on the sacred principle that the voice of the people matters. There's no room for firewalls. You either uphold the principle or you don't. Europeans, the people, have a voice. European leaders have a choice. And my strong belief is that we do not need to be afraid of the future.
According to the German news outlet ZDF, after his speech, Vance met with AfD's candidate for Chancellor, Alice Weidel. The meeting did not take place within the official framework of the Munich Security Conference, as AfD was not invited. Journalists report that the politicians spoke for about 30 minutes discussing Russia's war against Ukraine and Germany's domestic politics. The Alternative for Germany party is known for its far-right anti-immigration rhetoric and its calls to end aid to Ukraine and lift sanctions on Russia. Recently, large-scale protests against AfD have taken place across Germany. Despite this, the party and its leader Weidel have received public support from Elon Musk. Christian Democratic Union Chancellor candidate Friedrich Merz responded to Vance's remarks, asserting that Washington should not interfere in Germany's internal politics.
We respect the presidential elections and the congressional elections in the U.S., and we expect the U.S. to do the same here. Free speech remains free speech and remains part of our open democratic society. But fake news, hate speech, and offenses remain subject to legal restraints and control by independent courts. Friedrich Merz, leader of the Christian Democratic Union.
German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock also criticized Vance's statement. Speaking on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference, she emphasized that only German voters have the right to decide the fate of democracy in Germany. No one else should dictate their choices. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius reassured the public that German democracy is not at risk, stating that even a party like AfD is allowed to participate in elections.
In this democracy, every opinion has a voice. It allows, in parts, extremist parties like the far-right AfD to campaign quite normally, just like any other party. That is democracy. And that is why I strongly oppose the impression that Vice President Vance has created that minorities are being suppressed or silenced in our democracy. We know not only against whom we are defending our country, but also for what? For democracy, for freedom of expression, for the rule of law, and for the dignity of every individual. Boris Pistorius, Federal Minister of Defense of Germany.
On February 23rd, Germany will hold snap parliamentary elections. According to polling data compiled by Reuters, the most popular party remains Friedrich Merz, Christian Democratic Union, followed by Alternative for Germany, Olaf Scholz Social Democratic Party, and the Green Party. Reported by Serhiy Kulas, Andriy Dmytrenko, UATV News.
With 2 weeks remaining until Germany's parliamentary elections, the latest polls commissioned by Bild am Sonntag indicate the most popular parties at the moment. The Christian Democratic Union leads with 29% support, followed by the far-right Alternative for Germany with 21%, and the Social Democratic Party of current Chancellor Olaf Scholz at 16%. The Greens, led by Economy Minister Robert Habeck, hold fourth place with 12%. CDU leader and candidate for Chancellor Friedrich Merz advocates for stronger support for Ukraine, including the delivery of Taurus missiles.
We should try to do everything that Putin one day will give up, because he is seeing that he has no chance to win this war and to overtake Ukraine.
However, Merz has recently faced a wave of criticism. The reason was the Christian Democratic Union's bill on tightening migration policies, which most parties in the Bundestag refused to support. The only exception was the far-right Alternative for Germany, effectively making them a temporary ally of the CDU. AfD is known for its ultra-right, Eurosceptic, and pro-Russian rhetoric. The vote marked a turning point as it broke a long-standing consensus among German parties, not to cooperate with the far-right. This decision led to mass protests across Germany, with demonstrators demanding that the country's most popular party refuse any collaboration with right-wing radicals.
What is happening in the Bundestag right now is unacceptable. It's extremely important to make a strong statement and show that we stand against this.
We've experienced this before in 1933. I believe we must now send a clear signal that centrism is essential and that we cannot give the far right too much space.
Democracy is important to me because diversity and peace within democracy are values supported by almost everyone, except the far right. With AfD, we will not be able to build such a society. What they stand for is inhumane, and that is why we are here today, to stand for diversity for the majority of people.
In Berlin, Minister of Defense Boris Pistorius joined the protesters, stating that the far right must have no place in Germany. Despite the CDU remaining Germany's most popular party, its approval rating has begun to decline slightly since late January. In light of the massive protests, Friedrich Merz declared that the CDU has no intention of cooperating with the Alternative for Germany.
We would be betraying our country. I would be betraying the soul of the Christian Democratic Union if I so much as extended my little finger to collaborate with them. Anyone who truly wants change in our country should not vote for Alternative for Germany. Friedrich Merz, leader of the Christian Democratic Union.
Despite the large-scale protests, AfD's popularity has surged in recent months. The party is projected to win twice as many seats as in the 2021 elections. However, analysts believe that the Bundestag will not form a coalition with the far right. Centrist parties are expected to maintain a unified strategy of excluding AfD from governance. The most likely coalition, experts suggest, would be between the CDU and either the Social Democrats or the Greens, reported by Andriy Dimitrenko, UATV News.